Krishnan Jagadgurum Padapadme Tayo Sritva Pranamami Muhurmuhu
Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Lokashankaram Sthapakaya cha dharmasya sarvadharmaswarupine avatara varisthaya Ramakrishnaya te namaha. Good afternoon to everyone. We are continuing the discussion on the Upanishad. So, as I mentioned at the beginning, the first khanda, roughly corresponding to chapter, has got 9 verses. And the first verse begins with the question as to what is that mysterious power, the reality, the absolute reality that prompts our mind, senses, intellect, and all our faculties into their respective functions. And then from 2nd to 9th verse, the Upanishad tells us that there is one absolute reality which is beyond time, space, and causation, which is all-pervading, omnipresent, and immanent. It is Sarvavyapi and Sarvantaryami, present in all of us. That is beyond the senses, beyond the mind, beyond the intellect. And it is this Brahman, this Atman, that actually enables our senses to do their respective functions. It is this Atman that enables our mind and intellect and the antakaranas, mana, buddhi, chitta and ahankara, ajnanendriyas and karmendriyas, to do their respective functions. That Atman, that Brahman is one impersonal, attributeless, transcendental reality which is present everywhere and present in all of us. Because of that Brahman, we are able to think, we are able to do work with our different senses of perception and senses of action. But that Brahman is different and distinct and beyond all these senses. It is beyond mind and intellect. But it is that Brahman that enables the mind and intellect and the senses to do their respective functions. Now, that is the discussion. In the 4th verse, there is a very interesting, very important idea presented here. The verse is, Anya deva tad viditat atho aviditat adhi idi susruma purvesham yenastut vyaja chakshiri. This Brahman, it is distinct and different and beyond all that is known. And it is distant and different and beyond all that is unknown. It is beyond the known and beyond the unknown. It is not something that we know in the sense we comprehend and cognize using our senses and functions. Normally, when we use the word know, what we mean is something that we understand by using our mind or intellect and the senses of perception. So, Ghanendriya, Rasanendriya, Chakshurindriya, Turgindriya, Srotrendriya. the senses of smell, the sense of taste, the sense of sight, the sense of touch, and the sense of hearing. These are 5 jnanendriyas. When mind and these 5 jnanendriyas or any of them come together, it is called cognition. And all that we normally include within the category of the known belongs to this category. I have seen a book, I have seen a flower, I have seen a mountain. What I mean to say, I understood the existence of a flower by using my sense of vision, that is my netrendriya, and my mind. When I use my mind and my sense of vision, I see things. When I use my mind and my sense of taste, then I understand the taste of something. When I use my mind and sotrendriya, I come to understand about the existence of something by hearing. So that's what we normally call the known, the viditam. The Upanishad tells us, Tad vididat anyadeva. That Atman is beyond and distinct and different from what is empirically known, what we normally use, but we normally include within the category of the known. And avididat ati, and it is beyond, it is above all that is unknown. So it is beyond those things that we do not comprehend using our senses of perception and mind. So it is beyond the empirically unknown, and it is distinct and different from what is empirically known. Therefore, that Atman is beyond all this. So, what the Upanishad tells us is, anything that we normally call as known is not Atman. In Vedanta, there is one interesting point. If somebody tells you, I have seen this, it means from the highest absolutistic Advaitic perspective, it is only relative. The absolute reality cannot be seen. The absolute reality cannot be comprehended. The absolute reality cannot be cognized at empirical level. So whatever we see or whatever we come to know by seeing, by hearing, by touching, by smelling is not absolute reality. But it is not absolutely unreal either. It is relative. So the Upanishad continues the same idea. The idea that anything that we know is subjected to the kriya of knowing, and anything that is the result of any karma or kriya cannot be the absolute reality. It could only be relative. What belongs to the empirical realm of perception or cognition or comprehension cannot be the absolute reality. It is not absolutely unreal, but it is only empirically real. It all belongs to Vyavaharika Satta. The Paramarthika Satta can only be understood as our own real essence. Yet Sakshat Aparokshat Brahma. The Paramarthika Satta is our true existence, is our true nature. Just as fire cannot burn fire, similarly, we cannot know ourselves at empirical level. We can only experience the fact that we are one with the Brahman, and that experience can only be experienced. It is anubhavaika vedyam. It can only be understood as anubhuti, as experience. It can never be explained. It can never be verbalized. The idea continues, yet vacha anabhyudidam. Yena vak abhyudyate tat eva brahmatvam vidhi neidam yadidam upasade. So this trend continues up to 9th verse. So whatever is not subjected to Vagindriya or any of the Panchajnanendriyas and mind. So whatever is not objectified, whatever is not cognized by the senses, by the mind, by the antakarana, but whatever is that reality that gives the ability to the senses to function as senses. That is Atman. Mind is not Brahman. So Atman, Brahman we shall use for the time being as synonyms. Atman as the immanent reality, Brahman as the all-pervading reality. Atman and Brahman are the same. It may use interchangeably in this context. So whatever is not objectified by mind or intellect or any of these senses of perception, and whatever enables the mind and intellect and the senses of perception to function and do their work, that power comes from Brahman. That power is an expression of that Brahman. So normally whatever we call this with regard to senses of perception or mind, this is my ear, this is my eye, this is my sense of sight, sense of hearing, sense of smell, sense of touch, whatever may be, whatever use of this as distinct from our true reality, it cannot be Brahman. That idea is repeated. So there are these verses, the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th and 9th verses which continue. I shall just read and later I shall come back to this again. Next one. Yen manasanam anute yena ahur manomatam tadeva brahmatvam vidhi nedam yadidam upasate. So whatever cannot be comprehended by mind. So the word mana is used here. Yen manasanam anute, yet manasanam anute, yena ahur manomatam. So whatever is there which mind cannot comprehend, and whatever is the power that gives the mind to comprehend empirical things, that Chaitanyam is Brahman. And that Chaitanyam is beyond all upadhis, beyond all attributes. So whatever we normally comprehend, interpret or explain with association with some attributes cannot be Brahman. So this idea continues. So we have to remember, yen manasana manute. So mana is used here. So mana indirectly also includes mana, buddhi, chitta and ahankara. So mind is just one of the 4 compartments of antakarana, internal organs. Buddhi, chitta, ahankara are also implied indirectly by implication. Now whatever we comprehend with mind, it happens, that comprehension, that cognition happens through kama, sankalpa and nischaya. Without that, mind cannot function. And Brahman cannot be comprehended by mind through any of these functions. Through nischaya, nischayatmika antakarana vritti buddhi, sankalpa vikalpatmika antakarana vritti is mind, and kama is also desires, intentions also emerge in mind. So whatever the mind tries to understand cannot be the absolute reality. This idea is repeated in so many different ways, just as this Atman, this Brahman cannot be defined by, explained by words. Nahi vaktuhu vaktehi vibarilobo vidyade. You find in the in the other Upanishads also. Yato vajo nivartande aprapya manasasaha. Taittiriya Upanishad tells us. Mind and words went in search of Brahman and returned empty-handed. But the implication is, the idea is, yato vajo nivartande aprapya manasasaha. From where mind and intellect, mind and words returned without full understanding, without full comprehension. So, it is beyond mind and beyond words, beyond verbalization. The idea continues, yet chakshusana pasyati, yena chakshumsi pasyati, tadeva brahmatvam vidhi, nedam yadidam upasate. So, this style of emphasizing the point that Brahman is beyond empirical comprehension, Brahman is beyond sensory comprehension, Brahman is beyond conceptualization. That trend of thought continues till 9th verse. Whatever is there that eyes cannot see, but whatever is the Chaitanyam, the absolute reality, the expression, the spark of the divine within all of us, which is present in all of us, that spark of the divine, which enables eyes to see things at empirical level, that reality is Brahman. Eyes cannot understand Brahman, but eyes are able to understand things in this world because eyes get the Chaitanyam from that Brahman. So whatever happens in the world, any thought, any idea, any word that we hear, any sight that we see, any smell that we experience, taste that we experience, all these different cognitions or the cognitive faculties take place because there is something present in all of us, and that divine reality is Brahman. When a human body is said to be dead, what happens? That Brahman, that Chaitanyam withdraws itself from that body-mind complex. When that Chaitanyam, that divine spark is withdrawn from that body mechanism, then what happens? That person cannot move, he cannot see, he cannot hear. His eyes must have been perfect. He may not have had any eye problem. He may not have even seen an eye specialist in his whole lifetime. But something leaves his body. Something ceases to be present in his eyes. Something withdraws itself from his eyes. Eyes cannot see. His vocal cords may be perfectly okay. His ability to talk was okay till the man dies. But then some invisible divine reality withdraws itself from that physical mechanism. Then the person cannot talk, he cannot smell, everything. Something leaves him, something withdraws itself from him. So, that is Brahman. The idea continues, Yas srotrena nasrunodi, yena srotramidam srudam, tadeva brahmatvam vidhi, nedam yaditam upasade. Yet idam upasade tat na brahma. Whatever we point out, understand, comprehend as this, meaning this sight, this smell, this sound, or this taste, whatever we may refer to using the word this as different from us, that cannot be Brahman. So that this continues, yet pranena na pranidi yena prana praniyade tadeva brahmatvam vidhi nedam yadidam upasate. Prana here should be taken as granindriya. So granindriya cannot understand Brahman through grana shakti, by smelling, but you are able to enjoy the smell, the perfume of an incense stick or a flower in the empirical life experience, because there is something in all of us that gives the ability to the granindriyas, the senses of smell, to function as senses of smell. Now we need to go a little more into the subject, so we will explain it more in the light of Shankaracharya's Bhashya. So the point is, whatever is experienced or cognized belongs to Nama and Rupa. And Nama and Rupa constitute this Jagat. And we understand this Jagat, we understand this world, we understand different things in the world, either by using the mind and the senses, or by using the intellect and the senses. Of course, in the broader sense, Antakarana has got four compartments, as I mentioned earlier. They are interchangeable. Mind and intellect, buddhi and mana, are often used interchangeably. Whatever we try to understand with mind, we try to understand by intellect. But that is only concept. The concept is not reality. Because a concept can be cognized and understood only in association with some empirical reference. And whatever has got an empirical reference cannot be the absolute reality. After this, in the Ditiya Khanda, which actually begins the discussion between the student and teacher, we can see a more serious discussion. When the student closely listened to the teacher, who told him, whatever nedam yadidam upasate, tadeva brahmatvam vidhi nedam yadidam upasate. Yasrotrayana srinodi. So, yes, what yasrotrayana srinodi yena srotam sedam. So, whatever srotrendriyas cannot understand by hearing, whatever chakshurindriyas cannot understand by seeing, whatever vagindriyas, sense of hearing or verbalization, cannot understand by words, is beyond whatever is understood at empirical level, that is Brahman. And whatever is understood in terms of sensory perception, either by seeing, by hearing, by smelling, or by whatever means, whatever is understood at the empirical level cannot be Brahman, but whatever gives the power to the senses and mind to function at empirical level, the source of that power, Tadeva Brahma Tvam Vidhi, that power which eyes cannot see, which ears cannot hear, which sense of smell cannot understand by smelling, that is Brahman. So clearly mentioned here. Now, when the student listened to all these, he thought he has understood Brahman. So, if somebody tells the student, the philosophy student, that whatever the eyes cannot see, whatever the ears cannot hear, whatever the mind cannot conceptualize, that is Brahman. and whatever mind conceptualizes, whatever the eye see cannot be Brahman, it is only at empirical level, it is only Vyavaharika. So, the student thought he has understood the whole picture. So, Shankaracharya says, Evam heya upadeya vibiridastu atma brahmayidi pratyayidaka sishyaka ahameva brahmedi sushtu vedaham ma griniyadityasya aha acharyaha shishya buddhi vicharanartham yadityadi. So, here is a discussion here. The disciple who listened to this conversation that begins with the second mantra of the first khanda up to ninth khanda, then the disciple thought, yes, understood it. Everything is clear. I have seen Brahman, I have understood Brahman, I have understood the absolute reality. The Vedanta tells us that if somebody tells you, well, I have known Brahman, he is a first class liar. Because he not only has not understood Brahman, but he even doesn't understand that Brahman cannot be understood at the empirical level. When somebody tells you, I have known Brahman, I have understood Brahman, it is strongly, its implication is twofold. One, the first, and what is obvious is, he has not understood Brahman. The second point is, he has not even understood the fact that Brahman cannot be cognized or understood at empirical level. He thinks he has read a book and he listened to some words, so he has formed a clear concept of Brahman. Now this functions okay in empirical sciences, in science, in medicine, engineering, whatever area. If a student writes the examination very well, he gets a PhD, he is a scholar, he gets a good job, that's perfectly okay. And his teachers are very happy because he can answer all questions. But in the field of Adhyatma Vidya, if a person says, I have understood all about Brahman and I can write a wonderful book, that person obviously has not understood the first lesson, because he thinks Brahma Vidya is something that can be empirically understood. So one important point to remember is, Brahma Vidya can be understood only as experience. Andaya bhuvadinam anantaya mukam. So the language of the infinite is silence. The language of the finite, the empirical sciences, is verbosity. You can write thousands of volumes on material sciences, empirical sciences, because empirical branches of learning flourish and survives by verbosity. You read more, you speak more, you write more, you big volumes you write, and you know so much more about engineering, medicine, or literature, history, whatever may be. But in the area, in the realm of Brahma Vidya, the instrument of discussion, the instrument of transmission is silence. One may ask the question, what about the Upanishads, the huge canons of Vedanta literature? Why do we study them? What is their significance? They help us by feeding our mind with great ideas, spiritual ideas, which purifies our mind, which brings in samskara. So, Acharyopadesha Samskritam Manaka Brahmadarsini Karanam Bhashagara says. A mind which has become pure, which has become spiritually an ideal instrument, can understand Brahma Vidya, and it understands Brahma Vidya as something that goes beyond words. But you will go to a teacher, you learn from a teacher, you practice sadhana chadushtaya, sampatti, nitya nitya vastu viveka, iha mutra phala bhoga viraga, samadhi sharka sampatti, mumukshutvam, discerning wisdom between the real and unreal, upholding the real, the spiritual path, and discarding the unreal, and then mental restraint, samadhi sharka sampatti, and mumukshutvam, a strong urge, yearning for spiritual enlightenment. Then you read scriptures, sravana, then you do manana, and you do nididhyasana. Through this process, mind becomes slowly a fit instrument. Then mind finally understands that Brahma Vidya is something that can be experienced, because we experience Brahman as our own real essence. And that is only an experience, it is not a verbal exposition. Now, the student did not understand this. So what he did, he reflected for some time, and then he said, I think I have understood Brahman. So then the teacher had a suspicion. He thought that the student thinks Brahma Vidya is something objective, it's an objective science. It is something that you can intellectually comprehend through conceptualization. So the teacher, anticipating this confusion on the part of the student, says, Yadi mandyase suvededi dabhram evapi nunam tum vetha brahmano rupam yadasya tvam yadasya cha deveshu atha mimamsimevate manye vididam. This is the first mantra of second khanda. If you think that now you have understood Brahman very well, then that thinking, that misunderstanding on your part itself shows that you have understood nothing. So Dabhram means very little, a fragment, fraction. Now, truth cannot be understood in fragments. If you know the truth, you know the full truth. If you do not know the truth, then your ignorance also is 100%. You can't say that 99% true and 1% untrue, you can't say. So the Brahm is used here, means you know very little, you don't know Brahman. So when the students went and told the teacher, well, I think I have understood Brahman. And perhaps he may have given a long talk. In a way, he may have already given a short description of whatever the teacher has already explained earlier, Yadvacha na abhyudidam, yadvacha, like that, yad manasa na manude, yad ahur manomadam. So what words cannot comprehend, what mind cannot think of, that is Brahman. Whatever mind thinks, whatever words describe cannot be Brahman, it is only relative. Whatever the eyes see cannot be Brahman, but what gives the power to the eyes to see empirical things in this world is Brahman. So these ideas were very well theoretically, of course, understood by the disciple. So the disciple thought Brahma Vidya is something that you can write a book about or give a talk about. So that was the misunderstanding in his mind when he said, well, I have understood Brahman. But teacher knew where the student has gone wrong. So he says, if you ever think that you have understood Brahman, then you have not understood Brahman. For the form of Brahman that you see as conditioned in living beings and in Indriyeshu, that's the idea here. Deveshu means Indriyeshu. That is Adhyatmika and Adibhautika. So whatever idea of Brahman you have understood, you have conceptualized as conditioned in all living beings and as existing, manifesting through celestial beings, is only the Brahm, is very little. Therefore, the teacher tells the student, Atha nu mimamsimevate. Therefore, you have to continue your inquiry. And then you will understand Brahman. So, now you can see a similar picture in the Taittiriya Upanishad. In Taittiriya Upanishad, in Bhriguvalli, you can see this. It's called Varuni Vidya. There, Varuna is the name of a great sage and his son and disciple, Bhrigu. Bhriguvai Varuni Varunam Pidaram Upasara Adhihi Bhagavo Brahmedi Annam Pranam Chakshustotram Manovachamidi Ito Vaimani Bhudani Jayandi Yena Jatani Jivandi Yet Praindavisam Visandi Tad Vijiknyasaswa Tad Brahma. You can find this in the Taittiriya Upanishad, Bhriguvalli. So, a small boy, is a son and a disciple of Varuna, went to his father. Sadhihi Bhagavo Brahmedi, please teach me Brahma Vidya. So, the teacher Varuna told him, Annam Pranam Chakshustotram Manovachamiti Ito Va Imani Bhudani Jayande Yena Jatani Jivandi Yet Prayandi Abhisam Visanti Tad Vijiknyasaswa Tad Brahma. So this matter, Annam Pranam Chakshustotram, this energy, the senses like Chakshurindriyas, Granindriyas, all indriyas, Mana, Buddhi, Chitta, Ahankara, and all that you see around you, where do they come from? From where do they originate? And what sustains them? What enables them to exist? And finally, into what they all get dissolved? The Ulpatti Sthiti Laya Sthanam, the original cause of existence, origin, existence and dissolution. Once you understand this, you will know Brahman. So Bhrigu begins to do his tapasya. First he thought, Annam Brahmedi Vijanad. At the lowest level he thought this matter is only reality. And then Annam Pranam, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, Anandamaya. Finally he evolves to a higher and higher levels of perception and understanding. Finally, when he really understood, he became silent. You can find a similar story in the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. Sri Ramakrishna tells about two sons and a father. A father had two sons, one younger brother and elder brother. They both went to do tapasya. So when they returned, the father first asked the elder one, have you understood Brahma Vidya? So the elder son gave a long talk. The father understood, you have not understood. Father told him, you have not understood. Because the very fact that we gave a long talk on Brahman itself, and then if you think that is the whole of Brahman, then it is ignorance. We can do discussion, we can read books, we can do Sravana, Manana, Nididhyasana, but we should know that that is not the whole of Brahma Vidya. Brahma Vidya is ultimately an experience. So Sravana, Manana, Nididhyasana, these lectures and discussions are all great help. They are very useful tools in our life to slowly make our mind ready to have this experience for attaining Chitta Suddhi, and that will lead to Jnana Prapti. Without Acharya Upadesha Samskarana, without going through Shastra without listening to Acharya Upadesha, we will not be able to ready our mind, prepare our mind, purify our mind for this Anubhuti experience. But listening itself is not the whole of Brahma Vidya. So, when the elder son gave a long talk and then said, now I have understood everything about Brahman, then father told him, no, you have not understood. Then the younger son was asked by his father, what do you know? He kept quiet. The father understood that Brahman cannot be explained or experienced. So that's an idea behind this whole particular verse. So, evam heyo upadeya vibritastu atma brahma iti. So, Brahman is something that we cannot give up because it's our true nature. But at the same time, what we normally understand as Brahman, as a concept, as an idea, that is not correct. In modern times, there is a great danger. Frequently, we approach Vedanta as if it is a concept. It's a philosophical concept. It's a philosophical doctrine. That is very, very wrong. The philosophy of Vedanta is only the penultimate stage. Beyond philosophy, there is experience. The greatness of Upanishads is, the Upanishads, though they constitute the highest philosophy known to mankind, they again and again assert that the real truth is beyond words, beyond Upanishads. The book tells us the real experience is beyond books. And that is the greatness of the book. The Upanishads are sacred only because the Upanishads contain the discussion of the highest spiritual truth, which itself is beyond Upanishads, the words. So the word Upanishad itself it doesn't mean a book. It means Brahma Vidya, something that removes ignorance, something that takes us to the highest spiritual experience. That's the real, literal meaning of the word Upanishad. So Shankaracharya says, the problem of misunderstanding and understanding is common in the world because people understand according to their own level of spiritual fitness. So Bhashyakara says something very interesting. Loke api ekasmad guroho sunnudam kaschit yathavat pratipadyate kaschit anyathavat. So you can find even in the ordinary empirical world, in a university or a college, you find in a class there are students of different categories. There are very skillful, brilliant students who don't need much explanation. So, loke abhi ekasmat guroho sunnadam. Among the students of the same guru, kaschit yathavat pratipadyate. Some students understand, grasp things correctly. Kaschit anyathavat. And some other students grasp wrongly. Kaschit vyaparidam. And some students understand the opposite. Kaschit na pratipadyate. And there are those who don't care for anything, they won't understand anything. So it's natural. This is a common experience in any university, in any field of knowledge, any field of work or profession. People understand empirical sciences, whether physics, chemistry, or mathematics, information technology, or anything, according to their own fitness, their own ability to comprehend. And that ability depends upon their own individual evolution in that particular area of knowledge. Kimu vaktavyam adindriyam atmatattvam. So, when you talk about subjects and areas of learning at empirical level, you can see this contrast and differences. They want to speak of Brahma Vidya, which is beyond sensory perception. So that's why Bhashyakara says, Nahi vedida vedituhu veditum shakyaka agnir dagdhiriva adakmaknehi nacha anyo vedida brahmanosti yasya vedyam anyatsyad brahma. Bhashyakara has many interesting things to say. Fire cannot burn itself. Like that, we cannot understand our own true nature. Because when we try to understand, that attempt to understand takes place at the empirical level, using our mind, intellect, and the senses of perception. And Atman is, or Brahman is not something that could be perceived like that. Then the next verse, the second verse of the second khanda, Naham manye suvededi Nona vededi vedacha, yonastad veda tad veda na vededi vedacha. So that's again another very important verse. In other words, I do not think I know very well. Now, here something interesting happens. After listening to this, the student went back and then he understood that Brahman is something that cannot be understood as a concept. So, he wanted to know more. So, he says, I cannot say that I have not understood, and I cannot say that I have understood. It is something beyond understanding at empirical level, or its opposite, it's beyond non-understanding at empirical level. Because it is something other than the known and also beyond the unknown. So, Bhashyakara says, Sishyachara samvada padinivritya svena rupena sudhihi samasta samvada nivrittam arthameva bodhayedi yasya madam amadam ityadina. So the next verse will make it clear. Yasya amadam tasya madam yasya na vedasaha avijnadam vijanadam vijnadam avijanatam. He knows it, who knows it not. So those who think that they have understood Brahman really do not understand Brahman. Those who think they have not understood have understood. What does it mean? If somebody tells, I have understood Brahman, as I mentioned earlier, he thinks that Brahman is something that can be understood or cognized at the intellectual level, the way we understand and cognize empirical sciences. And he thinks it is a concept, so it shows that he has not understood Brahman. So, yasya amadam tasya madam yasya na vedasaha. But at the same time, there are those who think that I have not fully understood Brahman. Yasya amadam tasya madam. This is the Upanishad tells directly, it is not part of the conversation. Yasya amadam tasya madam. Those who think or those who tell you, well, I have not understood Brahman. There is a truth in what he says, because he understands that Brahman is something which cannot be cognized or understood the way empirical things can be understood. So, As I mentioned, if a great spiritual sadhaka tells us, well, there's nothing to say about it. I have nothing to say. If they don't, when you talk to him about Brahma Vidya, and if he just quotes something from a scripture, it is said in the Upanishad, it is said in the Shankara Bhasha, it is said in the different scriptures, then we may know he has understood the truth. Because in the traditional Acharya Sampradaya, we often quote it is Susruma Puresham, it means we just quote some ancient sages and their statements. Instead of saying it is like this, we say it is said in the Bhagavata Purana, it is said in the Upanishad, it is said in the Brahma Sutra, it is said in the Gita. But we don't say this is our view, we don't say. Because we have understood this way. So the greatest of Brahmajnanis, even when they discuss Brahma Vidya, they often put things in the mouth of the great masters of the ancient past, instead of putting things in as their own opinions. That's because we cannot really say we have understood something, because understanding itself doesn't happen at the level of Brahma Vidya, it happens only at the level of empirical sciences. That's why the Upanishad say, Yasya amatam tasya matam. Somebody who thinks that he has not understood, it means he understands that Brahma Vidya cannot be understood the way empirical sciences can be understood. That's the first lesson we learn. Any serious student of Vedanta will learn first that Atma Vidya, Brahma Vidya is something that cannot be understood or conceptualized the way we understand and conceptualize empirical sciences. That's the first lesson we learn. And then the Upanishad tells, Yasya matam sa na veda. And those who think that they have understood, and they proclaim that we have understood Brahman, they think Brahma Vidya is just like any material sciences. It's just like chemistry, mathematics, or physics. That's why Yasya matam saha na veda. The one who thinks that he has understood and he has strong determination as to what the implication is, what the true nature of Brahman is, that person has understood nothing. So vijanadam avijñātam. Those who openly proclaim they have understood Brahman, and those who openly reduce Brahmajnana into a mere intellectual construct, intellectual concept. It is a first proof that they have not understood the first lesson in Brahma Vidya. That is vijanadam avijñātam, avijanadam vijñātam. Those who tell you, well, we have not understood it. You know why they say they have not understood it? Because they understand the first lesson, that Brahma Vidya cannot be conceptually understood, cannot be comprehended as a concept, cannot be understood at the empirical level. So this particular mantra needs discussion further, which I will repeat again in the next session. So yasya amadam tasya matam. This we should remember. This is not part of the Guru Shishya Samvada. It is a direct statement from the Upanishad itself. Because when we first enter Vedanta, when we take the first step in Vedanta discussion is Brahmajnanam of Brahman is Vachamagocharam. It is beyond words. Avangmanasagocharam is beyond words and mind. It is beyond Panchasabda Pravritti. It is beyond the 5 conditions of verbalization. It cannot be explained or expounded in terms of jadi, guna, karma, sambandha, etc. Because it doesn't have any attributes. Like a flower doesn't have a guna. It doesn't have any kriya. It doesn't have a sambandha. So, Brahman cannot be understood in terms of verbalization, definitions or descriptions. Yadvacha anabhyudidam, that's what I mentioned earlier. And then it is beyond all pramanas, sarva pramanavati. You cannot directly comprehend the pratyaksha pramana using our senses of perception and mind. You cannot use inference, anumana. You cannot use analogy, upamana. And you cannot use verbal testimony. There are books, there are great spiritual classics, but the spiritual classics can only help us to slowly evolve to a state of spiritual fitness. The journey we have to make ourselves. The textbooks and acharyas can take us to the right road, but the traveling has to be done by ourselves. By attaining chitta shuddhi, by feeding our mind with spiritual food, by practicing sadhana chadushtayam and sarvanam manana nidhyasana. It is explained in the Chandogya Upanishad, the Gandhara Purusha Drishtanta. So a pilgrim who was traveling from India to Gandhara Desha in ancient times, today's Kandahar. So after a pilgrim has come from Afghanistan to India to study the Vedas, and he was returning. As he was traveling back to his hometown, he was ambushed by a group of robbers, deprived of all his possessions. He was dragged into a thick forest and tied to a tree with blindfold. Now, when he found in that position, it's just like a spiritual seeker who, confronting the reality of the uncertainties and insecurities and the inherent momentariness or transience nature, the impermanent nature of worldly possessions. He becomes dissatisfied, discontented. So like that, this pilgrim, when he was tied to a tree, he lost his freedom. So a spiritual seeker first develops a divine discontentment, dissatisfaction, divine spiritual dissatisfaction. A quest for something higher. In fact, that's happening in this lockdown scenario. When people have plenty of time and lot of stress, financial stress, emotional stress, psychological stress, lot of stress and anxieties with regard to job and so on. So we are forced to look towards something higher. But a real spiritual seeker should not wait till he gets these hard blows from nature. He should voluntarily start his spiritual journey. So a compassionate traveler who was taking the same road heard this poor man's cries coming from the thick forest. When they liberated him, brought him to the main road, then showed him the way to his hometown, and he reached his place. So an acharya or a scripture or even the Upanishads can only give us some guidance, can give us an idea as to how we should undertake our own spiritual journey, spiritual pilgrimage. Like that, the highest truth cannot be fully explained in scriptures. We cannot understand reality from words. We can understand this great truth only as our own experience. That's why it is called Anubhava Avasanatvad Bhudavastu Vishayatvacha Brahma Vijnanasya. Anubhuti or Anubhava is the last pramana. So that's why in the first khanda, the teacher made it very clear. This Brahman or Atman cannot be seen, heard, or comprehended, or cognized, or imagined by mind, senses of vision, senses of hearing, or any of the five senses of perception or mind. When he explained this, the student was not fully, at least he was not ready to understand the true implication. And the teacher continued saying that though the eyes cannot see Brahman, it is Brahman that gives the power to the eyes to see what it sees in the empirical world. The eyes cannot see Brahman the way it sees a mountain, but the ability to understand that there is a mountain by seeing it comes from Brahman. As I mentioned, when some divine spark leaves the human body, then it becomes a dead body. It cannot see, it cannot hear, it cannot think. So it is that invisible, transcendental, inner spiritual truth. Now the student thought it is a concept, it's a doctrine, it's a philosophical construct. So in the second khanda, the student is slowly led to the conviction and proper understanding gradually, and then real experience that Brahman is beyond comprehension. So the teacher makes it very clear, whatever you have understood as intellectual comprehension is not true, is not the whole of reality. It is not real. It is okay with regard to empirical things. It is not real with regard to spiritual matters. So it is something that can only be experienced as experience, not something that could be explained as a concept. So this idea is emphasized in the coming verses. Thank you. Namaskar. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Tat Sat. Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. Regular classes in the old temple every Friday from 7:30 to 8:30, every Friday in the evening from 7:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. in the old temple, online class every Friday. Most welcome. Thank you. Namaskar.